democracy system. No, I must place the unions in proper pathway for
Hello and welcome to the program. Now, one of the greatest inventions of humanity is no doubt the internet. Its emergence on our shores in the early 90s was, of course, greeted with huge fanfare. Nigeria too joined that global village made possible by the technology. And in less than 20 years, the figure of internet users in Nigeria has skyrocketed to an amazing level. Figures from the Nigeria Communications Commission, NCC, show that 94 million Nigerians are actively internet users as of December 2016. The number would have gone up by now, no question at all about that. Now, virtually every class of Nigerians use the internet via their mobile phones. From the 7-year-old nursery school kid to the market woman, the bus conductor, and to students in tertiary institutions, the rate of internet penetration in Nigeria is massive and ever expanding. This explains why it is Nigeria, as a matter of fact, is considered the biggest market for smartphones in the entire continent of Africa, even bigger than many European countries. In simple terms, internet plus smartphones is equal to information on the go. This is what over 90 million Nigerians have access to now. Now, one of the byproducts, if you like, of the internet is a social media. Talk about Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, WhatsApp, etc. Millions of Nigerians subscribe to almost all the social media platforms you can think of. The social media has basically taken over from the traditional media. And that is where most Nigerians who use the internet basically get their news from. But then here is the problem, and it's a very big problem. The social media has created an army of untrained journalists, fake news carriers, rumor mongers, and all manner of citizens that deliberately push out false reports for millions to consume. And unfortunately, many Nigerians simply take what they read or watch on social media as the truth. Some Nigerians deliberately compose fake news, some twist the news to their own satisfaction, while many send out outright falsehood. All these are beginning to take their toll now on national unity and cohesion. Many of the false and fake information pushed out by many on the social media have led to mutual suspicion now among different tribes in the country, thereby heightening tension among the people. Let me give you some very clear examples of fake news we have seen in recent times. And let me start with this, and quite clear. Look at that headline. Breaking news, it says, President Buhari is set to divorce Aisha Buhari. Now, this is complete fake news. It happened a few months ago, and a lot of people read this and they believed it. Let's take a look at another headline. Now, this happened just a couple of weeks ago. It was all over the social media that there was a bomb blast in Lagos. As a matter of fact, it took the PPRO, that's the Police Public Relations Officer of Lagos, to debunk that report. But even after he had debunked the report, the story kept spreading on social media like wildfire. Everybody saying there was a bomb blast in Lagos. And guess what? In fact, some people created a fake video of a previous bomb blast from somewhere else, not even in Lagos. And they put it out on the internet for people to see that there was a bomb blast in Lagos. It tells you how far these purveyors of fake news are willing to go just to sell their product and then create confusion. Now, this happened also a couple of months ago when the president traveled now for the first time. It happened a couple of months ago. You can see the site has no name at all and saying President Buhari, Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari has died. I mean, complete fake news. A lot of people believed this. As a matter of fact, in some places, some people who, of course, not too happy with the president, we understand, were actually jubilating that the president had died. But then all fake news. But it then shows you the extent to which people are willing to go to create confusion in this country. This is another one saying EFCC in great shock as Dasuki is declared missing. Dasuki, of course, we all know has been in detention, but there was no time he went missing. There was just no time he went missing at all. And guess what? Dasuki is not even in the custody of the EFCC. So fake news also. But a lot of people read this and a lot of people believed it. And then this. Fashola bombs Buhari, says Buhari is Nigeria's biggest looter in office. Fashola, of course, is a minister in Buhari's cabinet. And of course, the intention of whoever did this is quite clear. I mean, use the man, the president's man, to go after him and then create a sensation. A lot of people read that and then believed it. And then this also trended some time ago on social media everywhere. It was on Facebook and everywhere that the presidency was planning to relocate the villa, mosque, and church. Turned out to be false. Too many fake stories out there. And I consider this the funniest and the most hilarious. But then a lot of people believed it. A lot of people believed it. Nigeria police hold rubber goat. It turned out that story was complete false. Now, there's something else I want to draw your attention to. Just a few days ago, and as a matter of fact, it's still trending because you come across this audio message of an alleged conversation now between the governor of Ogun State and then the governor of Borno State. There's this alleged conversation that both of them actually had. Now, what I want you to do, what we want to do now is let us take you through the conversation. We want you to take a lesson to, of course, the man from the north of the country who was having a conversation with another man, well, from the southwest of the country. Now, that man from the southwest of the country supposedly is the governor of Ogun State. That's Ibikunle Amosu. And the man from the north of the country, that's a Hausa man, supposedly is the governor of Borno State. Now, let's take a lesson. I just want you to pay close attention now to that audio and listen to the voices you can hear there.
Until when our population is depleted. No. We have had a wonderful experience, honestly.
In order to avoid the problem, that's why I said the people.
So whether he has said or not, the nose it was clear voting now. What could he have done?
You remember what Babangida did for us?
Babangida, you see, what happened was, even when Babangida did it, you understand? Do you get me? The bulk of the population that voted was from the north. And Rimi said it. Since Babangida was in Abuja, Governor Rimi of Kano State, then, former governor of Kano State, he said, if you in Abiola in Lagos, Abiola Babangida will have said it is Yoruba that did it. So Abiola should fly to Kano, they will swear him as president, and they will stand their ground. Before we know, they rallied around Abiola, they said, don't go to North, if you go, they will kill you. Nobody saw happen. Do you understand?
No.
So I'm coming now. So Babangida got this. And then
Abacha that interconnected him for many years.
I'm coming now. I'm coming. Before we are talking about the cancellation now, the cancellation of the elections.
That is supposed to be the voice of the governor of Borno State. That's Kashim Shettima. Let's now take a listen to Governor Kashim Shettima again. This time it's a video. I want you to just take a listen to him. Listen to that voice.
But elections are being conducted in war-torn Afghanistan. Elections were held recently in Iraq, in Syria, and in so many other places. So it's not an issue of contention. The most important issue is how to safeguard the lives and properties of our people, how to recover our lost territories, how to recover the lost Chibok girls. You have daughters.
Well, now that's Governor Shettima. Let's go back once more. Let's go back once more to that audio conversation and take a listen to, well, the Hausa guy speaking in that audio message.
In fact, let me tell you why the North insisted that Jonathan has to go, because we had the plan that if Jonathan continues, the same problem will happen in Kano, the same problem will happen in Sokoto, the same problem will happen in Jos and Ebro until when our population is depleted. No. We have had a wonderful experience, honestly.
It doesn't, I mean, it shouldn't take, it shouldn't take a professional, as a matter of fact. Even if you worked on the audio, I mean, which is possible, there's just no way. There's just no way, no connection at all, not in any way. The pace is different, everything is different, not in any way, not by any chance. So that's part of the problem we have. Now, I tend to get the impression sometimes that if there's one country that could actually be pushed to a civil war on account of social media, that country would be Nigeria. I just hope I'm wrong. The Nigerian government now says it is going to crack down on purveyors of fake news and ensure they are prosecuted. But then that won't be easy terrain for the government because it stands the risk of being accused of trampling on freedom of expression. But again, something just needs to be done before these carriers of fake news cause conflagration in this country. Now, we'll take a short break, and when I come back, I'll have a number of people actually join me to talk more about this. Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on DEJI360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions. All right, welcome back. I'm now being joined on the program by two gentlemen. Evans Ufeli is a lawyer and a public affairs analyst, and Adebayo Lukweju is a social media analyst. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on the program.
Yeah, thank you.
Let me start with you, the social media analyst. Tell me, are you worried now at what you see happening in the country? I'm talking about the social media. The trend of fake news is just getting out of hand.
Thank you for having me. The situation in Nigeria today, everybody has turned journalists as a result of the proliferation of social media, WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, and what have you. And unfortunately, it's been a challenge to have a regulation. So because there's no regulation, there's no restriction for anybody. You just throw whatever you want to throw. We talk about it, we think it's fake. If some of us actually
and we know that sometimes some of the people who push out this information, they don't just push it out to inform, but to create confusion and create a crisis.
Certainly, most of them have malicious reasons for publishing stories, but the public don't have an iota of understanding why they're doing all of the things they do. And when we try to inform, sometimes, if you see a story, take some of the stories that you shared earlier. If you see a story and you try to point people in the right direction, then they come lashing at you. That's okay, you're probably an apologist for one particular section of the society, or you're an apologist for this. So it limits how much you can actually interfere. So sometimes we see some stories and we know, no, this is beyond logic. It doesn't make any sense, but you cannot say anything, because then people come attacking you. So a lot of times you're laid back, and where you choose to talk, you actually become like the element or the subject of discussion. So a lot of people who have the tendency of pointing the public in the right direction get washed down, and so everybody stays back. But what it holds for us is that in the long run, Nigeria is going to go down for it if we don't take action fast.
And that means people should not hold back. People, I mean, no matter how much attack you get, then it just basically means you don't have to hold back. I mean, you just have to continue to point out when it's fake and when it's not true.
The challenge is that even when you say it's not fake, let's take the story of the president, for instance, when the story was going around. It will interest you that even a sister of mine called me that since you work in the news, is it really true that the president is dead? I said, the president is not dead. If the president were dead, according to his religious rights,
exactly.
They won't be holding it back. There's no reason for it, because you will eventually bring the news out. So I just told her that whatever you think, just hang on, but don't share it with anybody anymore. You understand? But the problem is, that's because that's a close relative. But when you go into the public and you start to talk, it is an attack on your person. Nobody cares about what knowledge you have. It's a case of, oh, he must be a member of a political party. He must be an apologist for this person. And so whatever you're saying doesn't make sense. And then they take it offline. People come at you offline. That, look, you are taking this, your affiliation, too far. Whereas whatever they are sharing doesn't even have basis. So you see, when it gets to the physical level, and sometimes you're actually being under threats, then you hold back. So holding back doesn't necessarily mean that you know the truth, you're not going to say the truth. But you now getting to the point where you are careful where you talk, because if you even report people who are making allegations against you for telling them what is real, nothing gets done.
Evans, I mean, how worried are you by this? Because it's becoming a very, very serious issue. Yeah. We're talking about something that is pitching us against ourselves, pitching one part of the country against the other, pitching everybody against everybody.
Yeah, I'm really worried because Nigeria is gradually drifting into a very dangerous scenario. We shouldn't all think that because our economy is bad, that is why we're suffering. We're going into a very difficult dimension from here if we don't take care of this. And in responding to what he said, that there are no regulations, I beg to disagree. There are regulations.
I take regulations.
Yeah, there are. Let me tell you about the regulations. When the ACJA, the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, was signed into law, it was not just that 2 laws were signed that particular day. There's the one they call the Cyber Crime Act. Okay, if you look at it, there's a particular aspect of the law that addresses cyber leeching. That is when you begin to confront, antagonize, and leeching people and throwing out falsehood. You understand? What we should be talking about is how can we strengthen the frontiers of this law. Even the EFCC Act has a section that they are using now to prosecute the guy who blew a fake whistle. Okay, which that's part of it. You went to Ike Kuremadu, you went to report that he has something, and when they went there, clamped on him and discovered that it even led to the budget being held at some point. That those are the disadvantages. So, and if you look at the laws generally, there's defamation, okay, there's libel, there's scandal. These are sketchy laws. I call them sketchy because they were in existence before Facebook, social media, and all that came. So the social media is a little bit ahead because it came after those laws were enacted. Those laws did not envisage that there's going to come a time when you're going to have WhatsApp where people can be in a closed group and begin to create some damage and mayhem in their circle and push it out to the public to consume. You understand? So what I think we should do at this point is to galvanize all these laws, you understand, and begin to look at how we can address, because people think that, okay, because Section 39 of the Constitution says that you have a right to own a media, you push this and push that. But all over the world, there is nowhere fundamental right is absolute. A man's right to swing his hands ends with another man's right to defend his nose begins. In a way, we need to do something about our educational system such that we invest more in human capital and not what we have now. Because the quality of human person you have determines the outlook of information you. Look at the Scandinavian countries. And because of what they invest in education, look at the ripple effect that they are shutting down prisons because there are no inmates. They have to even lay off workers in the prison and take them to other ministry because there are no inmates. And if you check the history of this, how this came about, you discover that in the early 90s, they invested so much in education. So much, such that they have citizens who understand objectivity, who understand how to drive information, how to drive content, how to, propagate themselves properly and live within the confines of the law. That kind of revolution is what we need here. If we have that, even the question of ethnicity and diversity, division, Biafra and all that, such kind of agitation will be reduced to its barest minimum. Human capital development is critical in every society.
Adebayo, what do you think is fueling this trend of fake news? I mean, we didn't have it here before, but suddenly, it's become a major concern.
Should I call it?
Is it a failure on the part of traditional media, or what exactly can be driving it?
I'll say it's a human capital failure. Let's put it that way, because people are looking for aggrandizement in so many different ways. Now, some people would sit up in the corner of their rooms and craft very, very beautiful stories. Of course, the stories are atrocious, but they are beautiful. And why are they doing it? How many likes? How many views? How many comments? And so when you get this, you become an authority in yourself. If you're doing this on Twitter, in a little while you have close to 100,000 followers. You could amass 100,000 followers in a matter of weeks. This is what people take years to amass, but it's because you're sharing falsehood. And you know, to take it a step further, I don't want us to limit it to, you know, we're dwelling more on this topic more from the area of political point of view. But even from the social point of view, my niece's picture had been used by somebody, you know, of course, with the aim of defrauding somebody somewhere. A friend of mine who is a top official in one of the telecoms houses discovered another profile of his, all in the name of defrauding people. These are also other areas of social media that we have to also look at. So it's a broad area. But you know, ultimately, he had already hit the nail on the head when he said, we need to be reoriented. We have lost it. For every technology that comes, especially to our country, we are prone to abuse all the time. SMS, telephone, WhatsApp, Facebook, all of the social things that comes in forms of technology. And so people need to be reoriented. The National Orientation Agency has a job to do. They don't necessarily have to do it alone. They could talk to people like you or myself. There are so many people who want reality to be reality and not fake stories. But so, when I said there was no law, of course I penned a couple of elements down that I know that, yes, this is what should be.
Please, let us hear them.
I mentioned what are possible offenses in the cyberspace.
Yeah.
Communications which may constitute threat of violence to your person, my person, or whoever. That's one. Another one is it may constitute stalking. Remember the case of the girl that was murdered in Festac, like 2 years back or so. Yeah. All this, even restraining order, people, based on their communication, anyway, let me not mention names, but there's a case of somebody who is on bail now, and what the court order says is no public addresses and all of those things. Yeah. But it was via the social media that I heard the first address he made.
Yes. But of course, if we don't continue to get prosecution, if we don't get people prosecuted and get convictions, this thing cannot stop, and people will not take it seriously that they can actually be held liable for putting out something fake and false out there.
Let me quickly chip in. Like you said earlier, the platforms, to an extent, have taken steps. I've seen accounts blocked, but it's difficult. All the platforms have filters.
Sometimes the damage would have been done even before you block.
Yes. What usually happens is there are certain triggers. I think they just have to do more, because there are cases of, if you are harassing me, the tools are there for you to make a report. The tools are there for you to optionally unfriend, block, or even take a snapshot of whatever violation is coming against you to report. So our people, or the public, need to be enlightened in the area of, if you feel any form of threat, it's not wrong if I feel his presence is a threat to me to call, hello, the police. There's somebody near me whose movements I'm not sure of, I'm afraid or something. It's for the police to check out what the situation is. Of course, not malicious situations, but these are things that people need to understand. If somebody is harassing you, you know how people come to you on social media and they say, oh, my phone is missing. We should all have ways of detecting these things.
Well, but that's for individuals. What about when the intention is to cause confusion across an entire society? Then it becomes
but it's the individual that makes up the society. So if I am aware that Mr. X could possibly put something up just to cause confusion, and you are aware, and we spread it across our network of friends, then at least that segment of society would always have a double check
But most
approach to
importantly, I think
situations.
it's just important that people, you know, anytime you just come across anything you're not absolutely sure of on social media, just double check. Yes. Sometimes, you know, just mere double checking and even to just even Google sometimes could reveal a lot. But unfortunately, people don't do this. They just swallow hook, line, and sinker.
Oh, yes.
And the next thing they're doing, they're sharing. You know, they're sharing, and then the person you're sharing to is sharing. Before you know, the message goes around. Millions of people have access to that message. Millions of people are acting on the message. Millions of people are just, you know, beginning to live out what the message intends, and it becomes a problem. You know, so it's I don't really know how the government can actually deal with this. I know it's not going to be easy, especially with this issue of freedom of expression. But we just have to wait and see how.
No, we have to use this opportunity to also call on the attorney generals of the various states and the attorney general of the federation to prosecute people who have these issues, who are creating this pandemonium. Okay, because the law says that once there is reasonable suspicion that the person is committing or likely to commit, you understand, there's even presumption that he's going to commit an offense, you can arrest, investigate, and do a proper job. Because you talk about reporting to the police, sometimes you ask yourself, the police force we're going to report to, how equipped are they in this to investigate even cyber offenses? You understand? So it goes all over. That's why I keep talking about education. I mean, the police force, they need to train them specifically on this usage of, you know, the social media and how it can constitute and become an offense. The Chinese felt they cannot control it. That's why they didn't allow it. Here, we don't even know whether it was going to be a curse or a blessing. But then we just allowed it, and now it's a problem to us. So calling on the police force, the Attorney General, the presidency, the EFCC, all the law enforcement agents to look into the activities of Nigerians who use the social network media to dupe, to cause problems, to cause division and all that, so that we can go after these people, arrest them, and prosecute them according to law.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on the program, and thank you very much for your contributions. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll be talking about something very similar, hate speeches. I mean, that's also a problem in this country. And guess what? It's actually on the rise. Stay with us. Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on DEJI360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ, if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.